Okay, mic test, 1 2 1 2, mic test. Okay, welcome everyone to Pro Trade Room Plus. We're here for course CPI. My name is Lee Goldstein, Trading Director for 10 Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. I am not a financial advisor. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so trade carefully, please. Okay, good morning, everyone. Let me just get rid of a couple of these pop-ups. All right, so we're here for CPI. I guess I do have to remind everyone this is a definitely going to be a volatile report. It's a report where the brokers have raised margin, so keep that in mind. And we have made some changes, but you can make all the changes you want. You just have to understand this is a risky report to trade because of all of the volatility, all the attention that the market is placing on this as well. Okay? You can hear me okay? And see the charts? Excuse me. So let me know if there's any problems. So we've got our news set up. It's a little bit unusual to have CPI on a Wednesday, but a lot of times CPI or PPI is with Thursday unemployment. Obviously, only one of them can be with Thursday unemployment. This month, we've got PPI. Sometimes they're a day apart, 2 days apart. It varies. Anyway, we've done some extra testing. Last month, bonds were stopped, and I do think one of the issues is the brackets. We've gone to a bigger bracket size on bonds, so I think that that will help us if we look at some testing that I did. Let me just show you. So bonds are on the right. Watching the right chart. This was a month. This was April, and April would have been a good bond event. And I didn't like the pre-trade movement, but I think it was premature to cancel that. It would have been safe to trade. You can see that the bonds would have been safe with the bigger bracket as well. And then I did a test of last month. Let me see if I have that recorded. I thought I had it recorded. Let me just look in one other place. Okay, bonds. 2 seconds. This was 5:15. We got stopped, but a larger bracket very possibly could have been safe on that event. So definitely we're going with a larger bracket on bonds. We have two possible setups that we're looking at. But first, let's look at the DMM. um, Looks like June 25th, Lewis. That's what it's looking like. Somewhere in that week. Okay, let's take a look at the DMM. And this is a DMM that we've had so many different setups, so many different setups. Um, we've got ZN, and we have a new YM setup that actually tests very, very well. So we've got the YM with a bracket of 30 and a stop of 45, and we've got bonds. The big difference on bonds is a bracket of 12. All right, I'm actually going to trade the YM in my regular JOBB account. So we're going to trigger at 829.58 with a bracket of 30. We've got targets anywhere between 25 and 50, 25 and 80 really. All right, 25 and 80. The stop is 45. The stop is 45. If it hits my first target, I'm going to go to break even with my stop if it hits the first target. So it's just a straight ahead breakout trade using the YM. And you know what we normally do. A lot of folks that watch us regularly, I'm going to just look at my brackets. And we did have a really great, another amazingly good API report last night. The
Order
API
submitted.
report has had 7 winners in a row. That's like amazing. 7 winners in a row. 2 weeks ago, we turned it into a family money trade. It's been trading so well. So the market is pretty calm right now. Everyone's waiting for this news. I mean, that's the truth. The market's waiting for this news. All right. I think the brackets will have no problem
Order
sitting
canceled.
on the chart before the news comes out. Shouldn't be an issue. So we've got one setup using bonds. No, Roz, we had a little bit of a chat about probabilities, and it's ridiculous. I mean, I know that it's something I think about, but each report is a brand new report every month. I mean, that's how you have to look at it. The probabilities, that's just random. You can't trade based on the probabilities. There are crazy occasions when I will take a probability trade. For instance, if we're trading the energy reports and there's a lot of stops in a row, then I might consider taking a live trade because they don't stop every week. But when you have a trade that's winning week after week after week, you just have to trade it. You just have to trade it when it's winning and winning and winning. It definitely makes me nervous when there's so many winners in a row, but I think you just have to trade it when it's performing that well. So YM, 829.58 trigger time, bracket of 30, stop of 45, targets anywhere between 20 to 90 is reasonable. This moves very large movements in May. It moved 160 ticks. It moved 330 ticks in April. Okay. So the YM has potential to really have a big move. So that's one setup. Make sure time is good. 829.58. Okay. So our YM is ready to go. And then the bond setup, I'm going to trade in my Top Step account. And I'm having a problem. We're having an issue with our Top Step account. Yesterday, I took a trade after the bond report. First off, the bond report, I think there's a problem with Rhythmic. I agree, Chantal. Something's going on um, with the data feed. I had a trade yesterday, and I experienced it with Top Step yesterday, and I have not gotten a good answer from them. But look what Chantal is typing here. She's concerned about
Yesterday it
Rhythmic
was
working
all
properly,
proper.
and they just published that accounts that fail due to trading during these news events will not be reset. Okay? Now, it seems to me that there should be a difference between problems with the data feed and getting stopped out during a news event. They are not the same thing. And I don't think it's fair to group them together as if they're the same thing. But make a long story short, I took a
Hello.
long, simple trade on the YM after our bond auction yesterday. It was a 10 tick winning trade long, and it showed the opposite result in my account and in my on the charts. It was crazy. And we had the same issue with our bond auction yesterday. So I'm waiting for Top Step to get back to us. So I'm not sure if this is going to work properly because of the data feed issues. So it is something to just be aware of. If I were trading bonds today, the way that I would do it is bonds are triggering at 829.58 with a bracket of 12, and we've got targets of 8 and 15, anywhere between 6 and 20. 6 and 20. They're okay. 6 and 20 with a stop of 15. 6 and 20 with a stop of 15. Now, I'm thinking because of these data feed issues or volatility, as everyone says, it might be better not to trade the bonds in the prop account. I don't want to blow up my prop account because of volatility. So I think I'm going to just do the bond trade in SIM until we get a better handle on what's going on with all these volatility issues, rules, etc.
UniCredit say we expect
Apex
CPI inflation eased to 0.1%
definitely is the strictest of all the companies.
In April.
So I'll check my brackets, but if you want to trade bonds rather than the YM, the setup is as is on the DMM.
Prices will likely subtract 0.15 percentage points from the month-over-month reading. Core inflation will likely come in at 0.3% month-over-month for a second consecutive month.
Order submitted.
It is likely to show easing to
so there's our brackets.
In annual
for
terms,
Order
bonds.
it will
canceled.
probably decelerate to 3.5% year over year from 3.6%.
But what I will do is I'm going to
Even when
put
converted
a
into core
reverse
PCE
direction
inflation, the Fed's preferred
continuation
measure,
trade.
it would likely still be a bit too high to make the Fed confident that inflation is sustainably
And I
moving
think
down
what
to 2%.
I'm going to do is
Regarding
reverse
core
my
inflation drivers,
charts.
the main upward
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. So
contributions are
bear with
likely
me.
to again come from housing and non-housing core services, particularly core car
829.58,
insurance.
bracket of 12,
But gradual disinflation is
stop of
likely.
15
Used car prices
on
probably
bonds.
fell again.
Okay, that's the setup. That's the setup. And because of all the volatility, especially on this report, it's probably wise. You know, everybody makes their own decisions. Everybody's got to make their own decision. Because I've been having these issues, it's like I said, I don't want to blow up my account on Top Step at the moment. So
Order submitted. Order canceled.
I'm setting up also a reversal continuation on the ES, and that'll be in my Top Step account, and that should possibly be tradable because the volatility will be over. The massive volatility would be over. Okay. Here's what I think is going to happen today. And what's happening too is there's a lot of people saying different things about this rhythmic volatility issue. So it is sometimes hard to get the absolute truth out of everyone. It just is the way it is. I want to show you a quick YM test because, you know, we don't just automatically put a trade on without doing some extra testing. And I did some YM testing.
And non-bank financial institutions under macroprudential management.
And the YM tests very, very well with our setup. Does that mean it's going to work? It's not. Nothing's 100%. We all know that. There's no guarantees. But the testing is very, very good. And I went back 4 months, and it looks excellent. And I checked. I couldn't believe that one of the months was positive. I went back to April, tested the YM, and it looked very good. And I went to May and tested. It looked very good.
CPI year over year forecast 3.4%.
So very often the procedure that we go through is when we create a setup,
3.2% CPI month over month.
we then, of course, test the setup. Now, May was untestable. Sorry, May was untestable. April tested great. March tested great. May I couldn't test. Sometimes the data just doesn't test. You can't get a proper result.
And core CPI month over month.
Make sure that you check
on the prior
your
with a range of 0.3%
time sync by going to the website. Time is okay.
Looking at some more analyst notes. Wells Fargo say inflation
Go to the website.
will be back
Time
in the spotlight
is,
this week with the release
and
of
make
May's
sure
CPI
you're in
report
sync.
today. We anticipate the report to provide additional evidence that inflation is returning to a cooling trend after flaring up in the first quarter.
Chantal, I think that I'm probably going to be willing to do the reversal. I'm going to, if I have anything that I'm interested in trading, I'm just going to set up, maybe because of all the problems, I'll set up an MES instead of an ES so that if there are problems, I don't blow my account up. I don't want to blow the account up. I mean, that's the truth. I've still got
Altogether,
the rest of this week to use it, and I want to use it
which would amount to a
We are
3.3%
changing over
year-over-year
to
rise.
Buellnox
In terms of core CPI, we look for a 0.3%
for a variety of
monthly
different
gain
reasons.
and a
Top Step didn't do
3.5%
anything wrong.
year-over-year increase. As of this
So I'm
writing,
going to
our
set up
forecasts for headline and
a
core CPI
reversal
are generally consistent with that
play.
of
That's
Bloomberg.
what it would be called for
The
you
results
all.
of May's
Reversal.
CPI release are not
You don't
likely to
need
have a
time
meaningful impact on the
on a
outcome of the
reversal. All you need
FOMC
are
rate meeting
positions.
next week, although Fed
And all you
officials
need
will
is
no
one
doubt be paying
position
close
and
attention.
one target. Okay? You don't need more than one position, one target, and a stop. And I'm going to set up a 20-tick target, 40-tick target, and a 40-tick stop. And if I hit my first target, I'll move to break even. And again, that's just strictly if there's an opportunity after the news. Now, here's what I think is going to happen, but definitely do not trade based on what I think is going to happen because it means nothing. And I'm not trading based on what I think is going to happen. But what I think is going to happen is I think the news is not going to be great, and I think we're going to be in a big short. That's what I think. I think the news is not going to be great. I think inflation's going to be above 3.5. The numbers, that's what I think. I don't trade based on that. We'll see how it comes out, and we'll watch the charts and trade based on the charts. That's the way you got to do it. You don't want to trade on what you think. Now, look, trading on what you think is very different than trading on analysis. If you look at Fibonacci's or you look at Elliott Wave or whatever you look at, you might have an idea of what you think is going to happen today. And you might trade based on your analysis. That's different than just trading on what you think is going to happen. It's probably not recommended to trade on what you think is going to happen. It doesn't usually give you a lot of profits. There's a lot of levels on the charts. We're in tight ranges right now because the market's waiting for this news. I mean, that's what I believe. At the moment, the market is waiting for the news. Now, I could not get I mean, I don't understand. I have so much trouble using OBS. I don't change anything and I come in one day to the next and today the webcam didn't work. I've been using, and if my webcam works, I used it. But with OBS, it's almost like the software changes itself. I don't know why. So I'm just streaming charts this morning. So all I know is that I know that on Apex, Chantal's been having trouble with Rhythmic for
with a range of 3.5%
more than a week. But now it seems that Apex is saying that it's volatility. It's almost like they're saying they can't do anything about it, that there's nothing wrong. It's just too much volatility. So I don't know. Does that mean it's too much volatility? Does it mean they have too many customers for the data feed? I don't know.
Month-over-month forecast 0.3% on the prior.
We were thinking of getting an Apex account.
0.3% to 0.2%.
So may not. I'm not sure. Anyway, so to recap, we're trading the YM in our JOBB account with a bracket of 30 and a stop of 45, and the targets anywhere between 20 and 100 is not unreasonable. Okay? And if I hit my first target, I'm going to use the target one stop move to go to break even. And then originally I was going to trade bonds in my Top Step account, but with all the data feed issues, and because I haven't gotten an answer yet to my satisfaction on what happened yesterday on just a simple long trade that was credited as a short loss, I don't want to trade bonds and blow up the account with a volatile, if there's a volatile move, or just if the data feed doesn't work properly. So we're just going to look possibly at an ES after the news, and we'll sim the bonds to see if we can see what's going on. That's the way that we're doing it. Yes, I thought that the Buell Knox sale was over yesterday. David P. did not know that they have separate dedicated rhythmic servers. Apex, you don't like Apex? I think Apex, I've got to believe one of the Apex issues is they have the most customers. All right, let's watch the market. We've got 2.5 minutes. You all can hear me okay, right? I'm not hearing the news in my headset for some reason. All right, I do believe the news will be out on time. We should see the results. Chantal, I cannot hear you this morning. Yep, I can see you typing, but I cannot hear you. But I think can everyone else hear you? Or can no one hear Chantal? No one can hear you.
1 minute remaining. I'll lead
It's
with
crazy.
US CPI
I
year
heard
over
you
year.
fine yesterday, Sunday.
Ten seconds.
All right, 10 seconds.
Order submitted. Order filled.
I did
3
not
spot
get
3%,
filled.
3 spot 3%,
No
lower than
fill.
forecast, 3 spot 4%, CPI month over month,
Order
0%,
Too much
canceled.
volatility,
0%, lower than
folks.
forecast, 0
No
spot
fill
1%, core
on the
CPI year on
YM.
year, 3 spot 4%, 3 spot 4%,
Good news
lower than
because
forecast, 3
inflation
spot
is
5%,
tiny bit
core
lower.
CPI
Everything's
month
a
over month,
tiny bit
0
lower.
spot 2%, 0
That's
spot
why I
2%,
don't
lower than
trade
forecast, 0
on
spot
what I
3%,
think is
seeing
going to
downside and
happen.
dollar upside in stocks.
I did not get filled. You can't tell if bonds would have worked on a breakout on sim. It looked like the move was perfect. I did not get filled on my YM. Anybody else have that issue?
US
Anyone else have that
short-term
issue
interest rate
live
futures jump
with no
after
fill?
inflation data. Traders pricing
And
bigger
it's
chance of
just,
Fed rate cuts.
it happens. I've seen it happen before. No fills. So frustrating, folks. Okay, I'm watching the ES. Watching the ES. The news is very good. The news is very good. Watching the MES. It's making new highs as it
So
goes.
Treasury
I
yields plunge
think
after
that
May
this
CPI
is
unexpectedly slows. 10-year yield last down 10 spot
this is
7
going to
basis
be
points to 4 spot
probably a big move up,
2946%.
but
So US
I don't want
interest
to
rate
chase
futures
it
now
here.
imply about 70% chance of a Fed rate cut by September.
So I'm going to turn off my YM. There's nothing you can, it's the last thing that I thought would happen, that there would be no fill. I didn't even think about it. Didn't even think about it. Did anyone trade bonds live? Did anyone trade bonds live? So when some people get filled, when some people don't get filled, other people do get filled. Sometimes it's not the same for everyone. So I'm turning off my breakouts, so there's no reason to leave them on. So good for the folks that got filled, and I'm thinking there's not going to be very much of a pullback on this news because it looks like it's going to be good news. The market's not pulling back much at all.
Fed swaps fully price in quarter-point rate cut in November.
So, it's probably an interesting place for
Eurozone government
continuation
bond
on
yields extending
MES.
fall. Germany's 10-year yield
Order
down
submitted.
8.5 basis points at
Let me
2.54%.
put my correct
Gold
chart
gains after
on
USB
here.
CPI.
Let's see if it works or if it pulls back on me.
We have posted the US CPI May report on the feed for all those interested.
Now, see, I think, again, my data feed is not working properly. The data feed is not working. If you notice, look at what's going on with Top Step. It's showing no money. Watch. It's showing a profit in the unrealized on my control panel, but I'm going to show you different charts because my chart let me get the right chart on again. So here's my MES chart. And it's just not
2-year US
showing
Treasury
the
yield
stop.
falls to 4.693%,
It's missing.
the
It's just
lowest
not, the
level
chart's
since
not
April
correct.
5th.
The chart's not correct.
Order
Now
filled.
I exited. It's showing, it's crazy. It's not, I'm going to cancel all
Order
orders. It
filled.
won't let me cancel them. This is the exact same thing it did yesterday. So it's all screwed up. It's just not working properly. It's just not working properly. So I'm not going to really waste time with my Top Step. There's nothing I can do with it. It's just not working properly, which is crazy. It's just crazy. It's very simple little breakout trade. Now on our and and it won't let me exit the trade either. It won't let me exit the trade. So I'm glad I did it in micros. I tried canceling all orders. I tried closing. It won't let me close. So I, you know, I think this account is done. Let's look at the news. People that got filled had awesome trades. Okay. Our setups were great. The setups were perfect. So if you look at the
Canadian dollar
CPI, it
strengthened
was
0.4
exactly where the market
to
wants it. Okay.
1.3703 per US dollar.
Lower than expected. That's why you don't trade what you think is going to happen. You trade what the news allows. Okay. And it was just a really good CPI report. There's no way around it. Okay, can you all hear me? Roz is saying she can't hear me. I assume everybody else can hear me. Okay. So Roz, you should log back in. So who did not get filled on the YM? How many people did not get filled? I think most people got filled. That's what it sounds like. Most people got filled. Most people got filled.
So the euro hits a 3-day high of $1.082725, erases losses since the European Parliament election results.
I have to believe that the YM was that on a live chart, Sal, or on a prop? Live or prop? Chantal, try changing your mic. Try changing your mic and see if that
So
works.
10-year yield falls to
You did. Okay.
4.273%, the lowest
Well,
level
it's
since
weird.
April
I'm not
1st.
hearing the streaming from Financial Juice Pro either. Frank, you couldn't trade. The YM settings were exactly as the DMM, a 30 bracket and a 45 stop. And I had targets of 30 and 70. 30 and 70. Everything moved. You know, the ES, Langford was telling me the ES had a great move. This was the kind of trade where everything moved great. It was a perfect breakout. It was a perfect breakout day. Okay. So if you had a great profitable trade, particularly in cash, please send me a screenshot. That would be really helpful for me. If your YM trade or bond trade worked, if you could send me a screenshot, that would be awesome. Our settings were excellent. Let's look at the video. Sometimes liquidity is a problem and you don't get filled. It happens. Speed of the market, no fill. These things sometimes happen. All right, everybody. First off, I'm not going anywhere, but I want to thank everyone on YouTube for watching our stream. We are streaming the WASD report later at 11:30 in the morning, this morning, so you can come back and watch our WASD stream. And I'm going to close the YouTube stream now. Thanks everybody for watching on YouTube. Hit that like button and the notification bell on your way out. And thank you very much for watching us.